At the moment, there are nearly 100,000 people on the public housing waiting list across this state. This is a crisis, and it's on our doorsteps now. It's a complete lack of adequate public housing for people right across the state, and this number has seen a dramatic rise since 2009. And I know that many TDs here first became involved in politics through the housing action committees that sprung up during the 60s. At that time, as we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the 1916 Rising, many people, especially young people, realised that there was a significant lack of proper accommodation for Irish people. After the 16 Rising, which promised radical change and development for a new Irish state, those who took power failed to deliver on the aspirations of the instigators of that rebellion. Now, if we look at where we are today, can we say that we're in any better position? The greed and the corruption that surrounded the Fianna Fáil Celtic Tigers years left this country in a dire strait. The needs of people were cast aside and the interests of property developers were put to the fore. Social housing was significantly damaged by the weakening of Part 5 of the Planning Act by Fianna Fáil, which allowed developers to buy their way out of their social responsibility to provide 20% social and affordable housing as part of any project. And since Fine Gael and Labour took office, there have been further attacks on social housing. Since coming into power, they have cut funding to social housing by 19%. It's down 66.23% from 2008 figures of 1.7 billion. And a good example for is the Dublin Traveller Accommodation Fund, which has been cut to €50,000 from €1.5 million. The government has also planned to take out leases on NAMA properties to plug the hole in the social housing gap. These would be long-term leases, which will cost the state roughly £14 million a year for 2,000 units, and would see the properties revert back to the ownership of NAMA developers at the end of the lease. This is a scandalous double bailout for developers. It's not a scheme, it's a scam. And a special purpose vehicle was set up in NAMA to identify homes, but in over a year since the plan was announced, 179 have been delivered.
Oh, no, but 2 minutes.
At the moment, there are 94,000 people in receipt of rent supplement. It's costing the state nearly €500 million a year. It's also supplementing private landlords at the expense of the public. Now, Sinn Féin has highlighted a solution to the social housing crisis. In our jobs document, we outlined that a €1 billion fund could be raised for the construction of social housing. This could fund the commencement and building of 9,000 homes in the next 2 years. This can also be coupled with an aim to properly utilise NAMA properties and provide a proper and effective solution to our social housing problems. And to finish, in relation to mortgage distress, the only mistake that Irish people made was to believe senior politicians and bankers who encouraged them to do the right thing and provide a roof over their heads and over the heads of their families. And I ask this question: how can people who cannot currently afford to pay their mortgages, many of whose incomes are being cut as we speak, who face new and higher government charges, how can those people continue to live? What's going to happen to their mortgages as we take more out of their pockets? And what, Minister, is going to happen to the housing market when these people fold and can no longer pay for the mortgages they have?